Okay, guys, I am hopeful that you can hear me. Okay, so turned off the speaker on the computer. So if someone's listening, if you can send me a quick text, Rob or Matt, if you guys can hear me and if the picture is okay, we'll get started in just a minute. Excellent. Well, I just got a text. So good afternoon, guys. It is, what is today? It is a staycation week for me. So today is Tuesday and wanted to start the, let me just make sure that I turn my phone off so we don't get interrupted. So this is the reveal. I'm going to open a few boxes. In fact, I'm going to open quite a lot of boxes and show you the cars that have arrived for the World Championship Proxy that's about to start later this month. Hopefully you can all understand my South African mixed with Canadian accent. And if you can't, then I suggest you get a translator because there's nothing I can do about it. So, Alwyn, Super Slap, dropped off his car late last week, on the weekend, I think, on Friday, actually. So I happen to have it on the bench, so I'll use that as the start of the show and tell. But before I do that, I thought I would just give a quick overview of, first of all, proxy racing. And if you happen to, maybe Matt can post a link. Matt has a great video on YouTube telling you what proxy racing is or slot car proxy racing is. And maybe you can post a link in the comments and you guys can go and take a look at that to learn a little bit more about proxy. But briefly, what we do is we prepare slot cars according to the rules that are set by the race director. And then we mail those cars in to usually the race director. And from there, we go on the road. Well, we don't actually go on the road. The cars go on the road. We stay behind and we visit different clubs, in our case, across North America. And also in our case, we race on wood, no magnet. So the braids or the copper tape, no magnet racing, usually MDF, painted with a latex, but sometimes other paints are used. And we race on rubber tires. Earlier this year, or actually last year, we decided. So first of all, Rob and I, CGY Racer, we co-organize and run a couple of different proxy events. We started off with the Group 5 proxy, and that was quite successful. And then later on, we changed that to be a GT3 format, and that is ongoing, and Rob manages that proxy. And then I think last year, or maybe it was late 2019, we announced the launch of what we call the World Championship Proxy. So there are a couple of criteria for you to be able to enter the proxy. So first of all, you needed to finish fifth or higher. That's in the top 5 of a national type of proxy event. And then secondly, you need to be one of the top 24. We only allow 24 cars, 27, I'm sorry, 27 cars into the series. So you obviously needed to make the cutoff, and then you submit your car. Unfortunately, this year we had a couple of withdrawals from the actual series, and which gives me a opportunity to give a shout out to Paul in Australia, who was supposed to join us, but then had some unforeseen health issues. Hopefully, you're doing well, Paul, and on the recovery. Maybe next time you'll have a chance to join us. And then the cars arrive. There'll be what we call round zero, which is sort of just I guess a fun round, although it can be quite stressful, to give you an opportunity to see where your car is actually sort of in relationship to the other cars. And then we go off to round one. Now, due to some COVID restrictions, there's still a little bit of uncertainty as to exactly where we'll go next. Well, I do know we'll go to Vancouver, and hopefully Super Slap. Alwyn will be hosting round one, and then from there we'll see what the restrictions look like. We've had the last year or so has obviously been impacted by the pandemic, and the rules and the safety of each and every one of our hosts is the priority. So without further ado, let's start off by taking a look at these 27 cars. I was hoping to open some of the boxes, but to be honest, it was a bit of a scramble to get the video set up, so I have not done that. But because Super Slab dropped off this car, we'll just start right here. Oh, by the way, all of the cars are Porsche 956 or 962s. Originally, the rules were quite restrictive, but then I got some feedback. And because this is a tuner event, in other words, we're looking for builders of slot cars that can maximize the performance over 10 rounds on different tracks, all obviously wood, no magnet tracks. You need to have some flexibility and allow for some tuning. So the rules allow you to have any type of chassis, a custom chassis. You can use the OEM plastic chassis, any configuration, any motor, as long as the motor RPM does not exceed 23,000. That is manufacturer specifications. And the cars all need to run on rubber tires. So gear ratio, inline, sidewinder, angle winder, long can, short can, whatever you want, as long as it's 23,000 or below. And again, you can add weight. You can obviously prepare your own tires. The body needs to be a standard slotted 956 or 962 body. You can use any one of the multiple bodies that are available through slotted. And in this particular case, let me make sure this is a 962, I believe. And there's a very good chance of me getting some of these wrong because they are quite, no, this is actually, I do believe, a 956. 962 raced in the IMSA series in North America, and they had to move the driver back due to safety regulations. The driver's feet had to be behind the axle line, and that required some modifications to the original 956. But there are long tails and short tails, and the IMSA one with the extra air intake on the top, all of those are legal. So let's have a look then at the cars. So this is Alwyn's car. Quite common to see some tape on the bottom that act as a suspension. He has a sidewinder, and I know because he told me that he used a 23,000 RPM MB slot motor. Alwyn is a master at preparing front tires. Those tires are absolutely smooth as silk, and scale order guide, and that is car number 81, or if you want to, it can be car number 18. So car number 81, Super Slap from Vancouver. Alvin, like myself, is an ex-Cape Townian, but also, like myself, has been a Canadian for a very, very, very long time. So that is car number 81. And I am going to move on. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the cars from, I do believe, North Carolina. And apologies if it's South Carolina. Let's have a look at the box. And this box arrived in, this is North Carolina, Winston-Salem. If I know a little bit about American history, I do believe that's the region where we have all the stories about the witches. So there are 3 cars, I believe, in this box. And the box was dented. So I was asked to open the box just to check to see if there were any damage. I did not see any damage. The dent on the box was sort of to the side. And I did not actually open the cars. So some of this I'm going to do off camera so that you cannot see the blood when I start cutting myself. Maybe that will have me to change the age restriction on the video for blood and gore. Okay, so car number 1, I do believe this is Modern Slots. Yes, it is. I was teasing him on the forum. By the way, Home Racing World, HRW, is where we meet and chat and disclose the results of the forum of the races, and that's where we post pictures, and that's where you can find a link to the video, and essentially that's where we stay in touch. So although we have racers from across the world, we have a Japanese entry, we have New Zealanders, we have Australians, and of course we have Canadians and Americans in the series. The forum that hosts and where we spend most of our time interacting with each other is Home Racing World. We are hopeful that we will also expand to maybe one of the European forums, just to broaden our audience a little bit. So this is the Copenhagen. This is the IMSA body. This is the one with the air scoop. Let's have a look. It is a short can. It looks like the 22.4, or depending on where you read, the 22K NSR motor, which is placed in an angle winder. This has become quite popular. It's got a little bit of tape on the bottom. He has some nicely flared braids. The front tires are not coated on this particular car. And it looks to me like it's NSR rubber on the back. There is some body float. There's quite a bit of body float. The front is obviously seems like a little bit tighter, quite a bit of movement in the back. It looks like a really nicely prepared car. So that is the Copenhagen car number 1. Like I said, you need to have big kahunas to pick number 1, but this car looks well prepared, and so we're going to say good luck to Modern Slots for the season. So apologies as I move back and forth. If you look behind me, you'll see boxes and my track to the one side. So I need to just place the cars out of the way, and let's see comment number 2. It's a little bit like Christmas opening these packages. Well, this is a custom painted Porsche another long tail version. This is Rob NC. Rob, I don't know if it was his first proxy, but it certainly caught my attention when he did extremely well. I think he won the under 2-liter Trans Am series with a very nicely prepared Porsche 914. In fact, very much out of the box thinking with that Porsche, where he used a inline NSR part, the part that you find in the new F1 NSRs. He used a long can motor, and he had some brass plate underneath. And I do believe he helped a couple of his teammates from the same club. By the way, that is the Skank, SCANC, I believe. Apologies if I butchered that, but anyways, this is a very nicely painted. The finish, I don't know if the camera can do it justice, but the finish on this is absolutely perfect. It is a orange and yellow Porsche, obviously, and it has a couple of pieces of tape on the bottom, that chrome label on the motor. That means, I believe, that's another 23K MB slot in a sidewinder configuration. And the car looks, it feels, oh, that's something I could have done earlier on. Let's have a quick look at that. So I'll bring the other two cars back. So let's have a look and see. This car weighs in at 83 grams. And while I'm at it, let me check the other two. Super Slab's car weighs in 83 grams. And Modern Slot's a little bit heavier at 86.7. So this is not much I can add to car number 3. Okay. So this is the third member of the North Carolina team. And this is the very well-known Coke livery. Also the IMSA body style, car number 61. Now, I can't remember if was that chrome standard on this body. I don't actually have this particular Porsche, although I have most of the others. So this is, whose car is this? This is Mrs. Zeitz. This is a long can at an angle winder. That is the NSR motor, the 21.4. In an angle winder configuration, and he has, let's have a look, that is the gold, which I do believe gold is 35 on the slotted gears. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Tape sideways again. The tape is used to act as a suspension and help dampen. I know in Europe and some other countries, suspension is quite popular. It seems like in North America, on the tracks we race, tape works quite well. So this is car number 61, Marcus Zeitz, I apologize. And it weighs in just shy of 90 grams, 89.6. So car number 61, Coca-Cola Porsche. So now I'll just go random. Like I said, have a bunch of boxes beside me. This is from where? This is from Australia, the land of the wallabies. And this is Jimmy Slots. Jimmy Slots has joined us for the last number of years in both the Group 5 and in the GT3 Proxy, used one. Yeah, masks. Our lives have changed. Okay, so this is a Momo liveried Porsche. It is a custom painted model, very nicely done. Car number 30, and surprise, surprise, he has a play-fit chassis. The tires look absolutely perfect. And by the way, we use sticky tape. We'll clean the tires prior to round 0 and in between and prior to the other events. Now, this is the red playfit, and I don't know a lot about playfit, but this, I believe, is a slightly lighter chassis than the brass one, which has got a more sort of, I guess, brass color. He's got some carbon fiber. Is the guy. He's always a very level-headed person and a nicer man you cannot meet. And built some extremely fast and very, very competitive slot cars. Now, in this box, he has his mate's Lance's car as well. So we have 2 cars to open and take another look at. So since this one seems to be a little bit easier to unpack, I'll start off with Mr. Lancelot. Okay, so that is the Bayside Disposal Porsche. Now, I do believe which ran in the IMSA series, and Bayside Disposal, I do believe was I forget his name. Was that Aitken? No, Aitken ran Coca-Cola. But anyway, Bayside Disposal was from the Seattle area, and a entry that had lots of success in the IMSA series. I believe mostly running Porsches. In fact, I think they ran Porsches almost longer than anybody else. So let's have a look at car number 85, Lance from Hawaii. A Sidewinder. Now, I'm not sure, is that? I'm not sure which motor that is. That could be the slotted, but I'm not exactly sure. We'll see in the specification. Sidewinder, obviously rubber tires. He seems like he's got a little bit of weight underneath the axle, and again tape. Let's have a look. Quite a bit of movement in the pot, and independent front axle, and car looks very nicely prepared. This does look actually very nicely done, but I do believe that this is a custom paint job, so this car should qualify for concours. Okay, Mr. Dale. So unpacking these cars probably takes a little bit longer. Maybe it's a little boring, but maybe it adds something to the suspense. But I wanted to show you that the cars have actually remained closed, because I did not think it's fair, as I had the luxury of having a few extra days to work on my own car. I didn't think it would be fair that I had an opportunity to look at the others while I was still had the opportunity to work on my own. So Dale getting many excellent results in proxies all over North America, and I do believe Dale won the slotted shootout, which was a series organized by Alan Smith of Scale Racing, which required the slotted cars to be virtually box standard. So obviously a very competitive field. Hawaiian, state of Hawaii flag on the back, and a Porsche with the IMSA body. Very nice sort of, I don't know what you would call that, silver white, brilliant white. Running a Shark 21.5, and some really wide tires on the back that looks like at least 12 millimeter. And independent? No, straight axle in the front. And I think I forgot to weigh some cars. So let's go back here and see. So Dale's car is coming in at 82.3 grams. Lance's car feels a bit heavier, and it's coming in at 86 grams. And next up, let me just make sure that I have these packages where they should be, because it takes a little bit of administration to store all these boxes, and it tests your relationship a little bit when it comes to storing multiple boxes and packages for almost a year. So luckily my wife is very understanding, or at least on Tuesdays. Anyway, so who do we have here? We have this looks like Matt, Zach from Oregon. I believe he's from Troutdale, or just outside of Portland anyway. I don't know. So Zach is a very enthusiastic slot car builder, builds his own chassis. He's also distributing some Area 71 cars, and he has also started a website. I know he built some, I think it's 24th scale brass chassis, and very active in and around the Portland area. So car number 18 is the Kenwood Porsche Longtail. He has a short can in a angle winder configuration. I'm not sure exactly which motor that is. That's interesting. There's no openings on the bottom. That looks to me like a 35 spur gear. Angle winder, I can be mistaken, but I do believe slotted uses the same colors for all the gears. Lots of body float clearance on the side. And it looks like a very nicely prepared car. We did see some video of this car running a few laps during testing, and it looked very quick. So let's have a look at car number 18. Weighing in at 81.4. I feel like what was his name? The guy with the hair that all the boxing promotions. Is it? Oh my goodness, come to me. But anyway, weighing in at 81.2. Okay, here we have one of the cars from Kelowna. This is Leo's car, otherwise known as Leadfoot 46. And my guess is this is going to be a Porsche. Look at that. This is the Budweiser 86 Porsche, also the IMSA model. Again, tape on the bottom. Interestingly enough, Leo uses a tape. There's very little give in it. This plastic. It doesn't really stretch much. It's a packaging tape. Some big wide tires on the back. Leadfoot 46, a yellow guide. I'm not sure that I know who makes that. I don't think I've seen one of those before, unless it's maybe 3D and look 3D printed. Car number 86, weighing in at, and that is the 31 spur, weighing in at 88 grams, 87.8. So car number 86. Brumos, my friend, you're up next. So this is Mr. Tony Palmer. Who is not only the organizer of multiple Proxy events, but also a strong supporter of Proxy racing in general in North America. And also the dad of an aspiring IndyCar or Formula One racer. And another person that I can rely on to give me some good feedback and comments when needed. So, and also, I do believe the current Can-Am champion, Brumos and DRW21 had an epic battle last season for the championship, and I think Tony ended up winning that series by maybe at 1 point, maybe a couple of points. I can't remember. Okay, let's take a look at car number 33 in a very traditional silver. Always paints his cars in silver. Or mostly, I should say. A Shark. I do believe that's the. I do believe that's the older version. So that's the 22.4. And this his tires look extremely sticky. He's using a Thunderslot guide, and since Brumos is a very famous Porsche team and entrant from, I believe, the Florida region, and also I believe a Porsche dealership, very well known for their white Porsches with their red and blue stripes. If you want to ask questions about a Porsche, you ask Tony, because he knows everything that you need to know about Porsche. So car number 33, and let's have a look and see what it weighs in at. Whoa, that's light. 75.8. So I will not be surprised if this is won by rocket ship. So for me, the challenge was, as we were building, I was building my entry, was definitely weight. The advantage, of course, or the fact that we are all running a 23K motor maximum RPM, there was a lot of thought behind, because we all limited at a 23K motor, do you go light or do you go heavier? And the reason I went heavier, and I'll show my car in a second, closer to around 90 grams, is to get that tire to essentially what I would call activate or heat up or get that additional grip. So the lighter cars are going to definitely be quicker, and if they can get their tires to work without having that additional weight, they're going to be extremely difficult to beat. So I guess we'll find out in a few months from now who went the right way. So this came loose. I'll glue that back. If there is one legend when it comes to proxy racing in North America, I will include the famous white and yellow car number 70 of the arch rival, better known as Smokey-O. Mike is a legend when it comes to having won multiple proxy series, and certainly one of the guys, if not the guy that I want to beat. And Mike is probably more familiar with building cars with silicone tires, but he joined us a few years ago in the GT3 series and has improved his rubber tire skills. Is there such a thing? I guess building cars with rubber tires hugely, to the point where he's now won multiple races running cars with rubber tires. So Mike is one of the cars with a long can. That is the 22,000 RPM flat six slotted motor, a very smooth motor. So be interesting to see how that performs against the cars that are, I guess, the trend lately has been to run cars with a sidewinder short cans. So be interesting to see how car number 70 performs. Has definitely got some movement in the pod. Let's see, body float. Yeah, absolutely. Not much. You can expect car number 70 to be a strong performer. I would obviously have to make sure that we allocate the necessary penalty points. If it's too fast, we might have to. We go 92.9. So interestingly enough, Mike is probably the second heaviest car thus far, being, I think, just below Jimmy Slots and the Playfit chassis. So car number 70, beautifully painted. He has absolutely perfected the airbrushing around this transition from white to yellow. Car looks very nice. Doesn't look like it has a clear coat. Wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the ways Mike saves an ounce or two when it comes to preparing his proxy entries. And no, Mike, I will not allow you to race without the wings, so I will glue this back. I've got some JB welt. So what I'll probably do is just stick a lot of JB welt on the back here, just to give it extra reinforcement and some extra weight on the back. I always find that that's helpfully if you add the weight right behind the rear axle. In fact, if you can, what I might do is just glue it, like add maybe some aluminum or something, and just put the wing way back here. You're welcome. Okay, and maybe not everyone does sarcasm, so take what I say with a pinch of salt. We have DRW21. I think Dave was one of the first cars to arrive. He is from Auckland, and let's take a look and see how our friends from New Zealand know. Since I grew up in South Africa, there is a lot of camaraderie and rivalry between the South Africans and the New Zealanders when it comes to rugby and to a certain extent cricket. Although we share a huge admiration for each other, we are also fierce enemies when it comes to competing on the rugby field. But these days, New Zealand have so many expats, South Africans, that I think they can have their own Springbok team in New Zealand. Okay, so Dave is a hugely talented slot car builder who pays attention to detail. I'm just going to move this plastic. I'm sure this is very annoying, so apologies. Hugely talented slot car builder. Absolutely clean builds. And this is no exception. Look at that beauty. Okay, car number 8. And I do believe this is our first custom built chassis, just a beautiful brass chassis with what looks like a slotted motor. These tires look absolutely perfect. And let's have a look. I don't know a lot about brass chassis, but just look at the work attaching the chassis to the front. It looks to me that it's mounted on the housing for the lights, and then it's bent. It's just absolutely beautiful work. This car has been here a while. It arrived probably a month ago, and there is a very unique, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can move the light so that you guys can see this. It looks to me like there are 2 pieces of piano wire that runs on the side of the guide, which tensions the guide and allows the guide to spring back. I would imagine that will also act as some sort of suspension for so if the car moves side to side, this will probably to a certain extent help to straighten out the car. That is just amazing work. At the end of the season, I take the body off and I show you the cars, what they look like. Obviously, these cars do not get opened now or during the season unless there's some sort of issue that needs to be fixed. But that, knock on wood, rarely happens. So once the season is over, we'll take a closer look at this car when they come back. But that is just absolute fantastic engineering. Now, a lot of these chassis, from what I've read, and their configuration and their design are based on 60s, maybe 70s slot car designs. I don't know if this is a design based on one of those, or if this is maybe a custom design by Dave. Either way, it is just beautiful work. Love to know more about the engineering behind it and the principles that are employed. But it is a beautiful looking car. Car number 8 in a white, orange, black, and blue. And let's take a look and see. It's weighing in at 89 grams, 88.9 gram. So looking forward to trying this car soon. Okay, this is Redliner. This is Steve. Steve is from Michigan. And Steve used to organize the Race Across America Proxy. Steve was away from Proxy racing for a while, but has been back and actively involved in the last few years. Someone else that is probably more familiar with building cars with silicone tires, although Steve has had excellent results in both the GT3 and the Group 5 Proxy, and you can always count on Steve to bring a solid entry to the field. Car number 17. Love that Newman Porsche, a car that at one time was driven by my hero Ayrton Senna. I don't know if he drove it in a race or if he just tested the car, but you can find pictures of him driving this Newman Porsche. Just a stunning livery. Slotted had this car as one of the original Porsches. Now, I think they reintroduced it more recently. I have one of the original ones. And I think it's, like I said, I think they have reintroduced it. So let's take a look. It is an angle winder configuration. From what I can tell, it looks like it is a short can. All of these specifications will be updated and it will be posted online. And then with the help of Rob, CGY Racer, and his skills around posting pictures and adding pictures to the spreadsheet, you'll be able to take a closer look and read a little bit more about the entries. A little bit of body float, not a huge amount. Solid front axle. That looks the white guide. That I do believe that is the slotting plus guide, unless it is a 3D printed. No. So let's take a very nice little detail. You can see the front tires are coated, but then they are slightly chamfered or angled to the inside, just making that contact patch slightly narrower on the front tires. So coming in at 84.5 grams, 84.4 grams is car number 17, Redliner, out of Michigan. Good luck, Steve. Might as well do my car next. Looks like I'm one of the few short tail Porsches. So this is a custom paint, decals by TaylorMade Decals out of Germany. Canadian Tire, which is a very well-known, I guess, hardware store in Canada, not just hardware. They kind of sell all things automotive, camping gear, plumbing, kind of like a Home Depot, but with added automotive. We sometimes jokingly refer to Canadian Tire as crappy tire, but we'll be at a loss if it was not for Canadian Tire, a store that I would say all of us visit on a very regular basis. So my car number 7 is a Sidewinder. I'm using a scale order pod. I am using a 32 spur gear and a 11 pinion, which I believe puts me in just under the 2.9, something like that. And it is a MB slot 23K motor. And it has an independent suspension. And if I remember correctly, my car should weigh very close to 90 grams. Look at that, 90.2. Looks like it's gained some weight, just like the owner. Well, we have, sorry, let me just, by the way, I have a workshop stool that I'm sitting on. So if you're hearing some strange noises, it's on caster. So if I move, it kind of rolls around, and this is, anyway, it makes some weird noises. But anyways, this is Mr. Alan Jarvis. Alan is from the beautiful state of Massachusetts, and a fantastic supporter of all things Proxy racing in North America. Not only has he organized multiple events, he's hosted multiple events. He's a guy that you can always rely on when it comes to putting on a great event and supporting Proxy racing. Alan has also won multiple races. I can't recall what was the last series that he won. Oh, I know which one. He won the Ford versus Ferrari series recently, and always can be relied on to enter a strong car. So car number 5 looks to me like it doesn't look like the body was, no, it was painted. If it was painted, it was painted with a very, very light coat of white, obviously to keep the weight down as much as possible. As always, Alan's always trying to find that little extra when it comes to his entries, and has had lots of success. Interestingly enough, he's also running a scale order pod in a Sidewinder configuration. And if you see any dust on the tires, don't be concerned. All these tires will be cleaned with a sticky tape prior to the event. Audi One is running a 22K. Well, I think sometimes you'll see it as a 22.4K. He has quite a bit of movement. And interestingly enough, oh, that is very different. He has no screws on the front of his pot. So he must, I assume he's using the side mounts, or he might have a different method for attaching that pot. Again, we'll find out after the series, once we get a chance to open up some of these cars and take a closer look. At the moment, this will be his secret, and we'll see how it performs. Very interesting design. Okay. Car number 5. Quite a bit of body float. Those are absolutely beautiful wheels. They were done by, because I asked on the forum, they were done by Matt from, Matt, please help me, CG Slot Car, I think it's CG. He has a website. If you Google CG Slot Car, he does 3D printing and makes inserts, and those are absolutely, I'm going to get some of those. Those are fantastic BBS inserts. That car looks just very nice. I believe these are IndyCal decals. And let's take a look at the weight. Weighing in at 86, Bob Arum. That was the name I couldn't remember earlier, the boxing promoter, Bob Arum, with the wild hair, who was a very well-known boxing promoter in the 80s and 90s. 86.3, I digress. We have a car from Nashville, Tennessee. The home of, I want to say country music, but I mean, it has progressed way beyond country music. Nashville have so many recording studios and so many musicians that I think it'd be a misnomer, or it would not be fair to just call it country music. It has a wide genre of music coming from the Nashville area. And this is our friend Harold. Harold is another very, very keen Proxy entrant. It has had good success. I think it was the Trans Am. Was it the Trans Am? Where he's had his best results. But another entrance that you can always rely on when it comes to sending a quality entry, and always supporting our Proxy racing here in North America with multiple entries during the seasons. This is the Jack Daniels entry. It has a gunmetal, sort of bluish gunmetal. Looks like he picked up some sponsorship from Slot Car Corner. It looks like a Sidewinder with a slotted motor, some really nice wide tires on the back, with a body float. Looks like a Slotting Plus guide, one of those ones that you can cut to size. Car number 53, Harold, weighing in at 83.3. Okay, I think we're at our second last, and if you were to see all the boxes and packaging material around me, then you'd probably be here for a while putting this away. So we have all the way from Japan. I'm going to open this box on the bottom because I don't want to cut that label. I need that for the return. Sometimes what happens is finding the box to match the car can be sometimes a bit challenging after the cars have been away on the road for a season. So this is Slot Racing Hawaii, all the way from Japan. So you might wonder why Slot Racing Hawaii lives in Japan, because back in the day, Slot Racing Hawaii was actually based in Japan, and Mr. Takahashi was active in Proxy racing, and I remember having some fantastic events racing against him. There was a Ferrari 512, if I remember correctly, with I think an HRS chassis, and I can't remember the car. I think I had a Porsche. I think it was a Porsche in the series, and I remember him and I for all 10 races was tooth and nail. Very memorable series for me, racing again, slot racing Hawaii. So all the way from Japan, the Bob Jane, T-Mart, Porsche, another long tail. Definitely does seem that I am in the minority when it comes to the short tail version. This is a NSR chassis. Look at that. My goodness, that is interesting. So that is a Mercedes AMG chassis that has been fitted underneath the Porsche. And as you can tell, the wheelbase is pretty much spot on. And it is a triangle motor part. The reason I'm sort of hesitating is because this is one of my favorite motors. I've got a couple of these. It's a 23K, what they call zero magnet. It is as smooth as butter. It is a fantastic motor. If you ever want to try a very nice long can, I can highly recommend this motor. It is absolutely love it. So really interesting choice. Angle winder, Mercedes NSR chassis underneath the Bob Jane Porsche. So good luck, car number 35. And finally, I will not say last, is car number 10. No, sorry, this is not finally. We have a few more cars to go. This is, I think I just gave Leon from Edmonton a small heart attack. Sorry, Leon. I see on this side there are 4 more boxes. So not to worry. Your car is definitely here. This is my friend and co-host and all-round good guy from Kelowna, and a man that builds one by very fast slot car, and is also one by very fast slot car driver, and somebody that makes us all jealous because he has a very nice slot car track. So basically, he has it all. When we grow up, we want to be more like Rob. Okay, so car number 10, it's going to be a Porsche. Look at that, what a guess. I think he painted this. There's probably, yeah, I can still smell the paint. I think this was only painted like a week ago. Very nicely done. The custom livery is based on a BMW 320 that raced in Europe, the Bueller BMW. Nicely done. Wow, look at that. He has sponsorship by Kiss. My goodness, Mr. Simmons gets around. So a Sidewinder, another slotting plus, another Scale Auto Sidewinder pod, a 22, the original, the old 22.4 motor, and solid front axle, and you can bet your bottom dollar that this will be a quick car, because Rob has a great reference point, and I am very confident that he will have a strong entry. Okay, so car number 10 weighs in at 94 grams, 94.2, and I'm just going to grab Slot Racing Hawaii, comes in at 88.1. So I'm not sure how many of you are still awake, because this has taken quite a bit more time than I expected it would. When Rob did this, it all looked so easy and straightforward, just like his winning slot cars. Okay. We have Courtney S. Now, is he from, Tennessee? Yeah, Tennessee. Courtney is relatively, Courtney has two cars in this box, it reminds me. Him and Big Doug. Let's pick up the paper. Courtney is relatively new, as far as I'm concerned, anyways, to Proxy Racing. I haven't raced against him that many times, but he has been a great supporter of, I think he's for sure in the GT3. I do believe he's also in the Porsche series, and he was in the under 2-liter Trans Am. And so it looks like we have some teammates with two very nicely done Repsol cars. Look at that. And it looks like they are similar but different. So both the Repsol paint, one has a blue wing, one has a white wing, one is car number 11, one is car number 117, and one has a Sidewinder pod with what looks like an MB slot 23K. That's the same motor that I used. So a 23K Sidewinder. Those tires are very shiny and they look very sticky. So that is Courtney's car, and then we have Big Doug's car, which interestingly enough is using the Thunder slot, which I believe is a 21.5, or is it the 22? I can't remember. I think 21.5 motor, and some really big tires on the back. Both these cars, kind of neat that they went in and did the same livery, or used the body with the same livery. So Team Repsol, good luck. Let's have a look at the weights. So this one is car number 11, weighs in at 77.5. That's another light car. And this one feels a bit heavier, not by much, comes in at 78.9. So, yeah, 78.9. Yeah, 79 grams. Okay, we have another car from Australia, and this is Bob's car, or Tony's car, known as Bob or the other Tony, on the forums. Again, somebody that was very active on SCI back in the day, and I do remember racing against him in the Can-Am, amongst other proxies. Always had strong entries. And Tony, thanks for joining us in the World Championship. It's great to have you. So another person that's quite active on the forum, and without the activity on the forum, it'd be kind of dumb to have a proxy series, because it's all about interacting and stirring the you-know-what on the site. So another Bob Jane, which was a very famous sponsor of events in Australia. In fact, if I remember correctly, they also sponsored the Bathurst 1000 a few times. Was it the two these 1000? But I believe it was also the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000. So very nice car number 34. Very nice Porsche, another long tail Sidewinder, slotted NSR. It's getting late. Motor, and let's take a look and see what it weighs in that. $77.9, 78 grams. Car number 34. Okay, let's see if I can speed this up a little bit. This is no name car. There is no return address on this box, but I have a pretty good idea who it's from, because it's came from the center of the universe. And if you live in Canada and you work in the corporate world, then for us, we always refer to Toronto and area as the center of the universe, because everybody in that area thinks that all the important decisions are made in Toronto. No, I'm not bitter. I like Toronto. If you like that humidity and traffic on the 401, then hey, what's there not to like? I digress. Car number 19, beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Custom paint job, swatch. In fact, it looks almost like it's factory paint. Very nicely done. Car number 19, running a angle winder in what is a scale auto part that looks like a slotted motor. It might be an NSR without the label. In fact, the round holes, it's most likely an NSR. Very, very smooth looking sticky tires. It looks like a narrower tire than some of the others. There are some spacers in the back to take up some of the taking up some of the space, and you can be assured Chris has done extremely well in both the GT3 and previously in the Group 5 proxies. Always has an extremely clean built and great looking car, and also very active on the forum. like for him to post a little bit more on our side of the forum, Chris. Nudge, nudge. So, but it is a 83.9, 84 gram Porsche Swatch watch, Porsche car number 19. Very nicely done, as I was expecting to see from Mr. Walker. Okay, second last. Let's see, who do we have? This is Stevie, our entry from Fresno, California, and another great supporter of Proxy Racing in North America. And I'm just looking at best way to open this box. Also has had many excellent results. And let's take a look at his car for the World Championship. Oh, this is the blue Jägermeister Porsche. Now, unless I am very much mistaken, to quote Murray Walker, who passed away recently, a legend if you're a Formula One fan and listen to English broadcasting from anywhere across the world. This is a very scarce body. Very nicely done. I've never seen one of these, but I have seen some of these go for fairly good prices on the internet. Car number 9, a Sidewinder in a, that is another, I believe, no, that is a slotted pod. Looks like a slotted guide. Car number 9, Stevie from California. And let's see, it feels like it's probably in the high. Oh, I thought it was heavier than that. 78.6 grams, just under 80 grams. Well, it's certainly interesting to note that there are multiple cars that are in the, I would say, 80 or below weight range. So I guess I'm going to find out how my 90-gram car does against those. Okay, so finally we have Haley CA. Leon is out of Edmonton and doesn't enter that many proxies, but I think he must have the best finishing ratio to anyone. When he enters, he usually wins, and he's again leading the field in the GT3 Proxy with his Ferrari. He builds very strong slot cars, is a bit of a perfectionist, and I think it'd be fair to say that he is certainly going to be one of the guys to beat in the World Championship. And let's take a look at his entry. It has been double boxed and triple packed, and I think this packaging would have withstood a nuclear explosion. Okay, car number 88. Very nicely done. I believe a friend of his painted this. It's a custom paint job, and I forget. It might be the. I forget what this. I've seen this design on one of his previous cars, but I'm going to reserve judgment. We'll let Leon post and tell us what that design is all about. So car number 88. And I am not. It is an inline where there's a only inline. As far as I can tell, it's a long can inline motor, and that is very interesting. So, yeah, there's some part movement and quite a bit of chassis float. So very interesting, out of the box looking or thinking design. And let's take a look and see how much it weighs. It feels a little bit heavier. Yes, it is 92 grams, 91.8. And I do believe, if you can look at my garage now, you'll see boxes everywhere. And I hope I have opened them all and I didn't leave any cars behind. I want to thank you all for supporting the World Championship, looking to a close and competitive series. And thanks again for joining me this evening. Look on the forum for an update very soon on round 0, when all the talking will stop and the lap times will drop. Talk to you soon. Thanks again. Bye.